Well, it wouldn't be the start of a major international break without some French national team drama. The final match days of the group of the Nations League is currently underway, meaning that we have a pretty good idea of what these rosters for the Euros will look like this summer for every national team. And boy, have they been a point of contention. In this video, I'll go through the major news in women's football and some other takeaways we have from national team camps before the Euros. We will start with, of course, the biggest news: Wendie Renard, Kenza Dali, and Eugénie Le Sommer not being selected for France. Yes, this is larger than Mary Earps, I'll get to that later. These three are obviously some of the older players on the French national team. Moving on from legends is always a hard transition, but this feels different because they're still good enough for the national team. Head coach Laurent Bonadie actually said this was not a spur-of-the-moment decision, citing Einstein, actually. Quote, "Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. I want different results for this team, so I have gone with a different selection." This makes sense to some degree. The French national team have been underachievers for a very long time. Most recently, obviously, was the Olympics, where the team looked completely dysfunctional. I think this is really the Federation trying to take the first step to create a new culture. But again, this can feel disrespectful because these players have given so much and they don't really get a proper send-off. Feels like communication could have been better. But then again, this national team has been through so much drama, especially with the controversy from PSG that involved Kira Hamraoui, Diallo, and a lot of the players on the national team were involved in that. Paris Saint-Germain Feminine has been pretty dysfunctional, a lot of reports about unhealthy competition between players, and this seems to have seeped into the national team. Katoto and Diani were very involved in the PSG scandal, essentially bullying Hamraoui. If they do want to change the culture, I would have thrown Katoto and Diani out the door first, honestly, because they have created a pretty toxic environment. But again, the decision to exclude Wendie Renard, Sommer, and Dali just may be more of a transition to younger players. Kelly Gago and Melvin Millard are younger than Le Sommer. I wouldn't say that they're better players right now, though. Kenza Dali has been in great form for the Wave and NWSL, so I didn't really expect her getting dropped. Renard is obviously the most shocking, though. She has had issues with the French Federation in the past, but this can leave the defense pretty vulnerable, even though they do have Jury Jimbok as the captain. We will see how this works out for France. We do not see the player dynamics behind closed doors, so this could be the right decision. That just seems shocking from the outside. Speaking of drama, we of course have the Mary Earps retirement. The timing is shocking, especially with reports that Serena Wegman was blindsided by it and even angry. Earps had accepted the call-up for camp, so most people assumed she was committed to playing this summer, even the coaches. It seems like once at camp she was officially told she would not be the number one keeper this summer, as Hannah Hampton had just been the better keeper for the past year or so. Reportedly, Earps had been thinking of retiring since last year when Hampton first started getting first-time playing time over her. Just 2 months ago in April, Earps informed Weigman she was going to retire during England's last camp in April, but she was asked to reconsider, most likely because of the concerning lack of depth and experience at the position. Since Earp accepted this call-up, it seemed like she was committed to not retiring. This media frenzy is the last thing England needs. Hannah Hampton is only 24 and stepping into a huge role. And now she has to deal with all this noise Earps created. Teammates and pundits constantly talking about how important Earps was, how much she'll be missed. Of course, Earps has every right to retire, but the way this happened has put Hampton in a really vulnerable position. I hope teammates don't turn against her because they subconsciously blame her for Earps leaving. Same goes with the fans. If Hampton lets one goal in, all the comments on social media are just going to be about Earps. Hampton has gotten off to a good start, though, as she kept a clean sheet in England's dominant win over Portugal. People online will go against her because the stan culture around England football, blaming her for Earps. In reality, Earps just lost her job and couldn't handle it. She's only 32. And look, Earps has done a lot for England. She was massive in the 2022 Euros win. But it still hurts the team that she won't even be there in Switzerland as a backup, and she knows this. If Hampton gets injured, the options off the bench have not played a single England game. I'm not joking. Kiara Keating and Anna Morehouse do not have a single cap. So yeah, the timing of Earps' part isn't great, especially if she accepted the invite then didn't tell Weigman what was going on until she got there. She has a documentary that just came out, and it feels like a way to get her name in the media. Like she wanted to go out on her terms. We have seen this before, though, with Earps during her Man United exit. Overall, it seemed like Earps wanted out and England kept trying to hold on because they did need her as a backup. But if that's the case, why did she accept the call-up at all? Weigman even said she expected Earps to play a big role this summer, probably more as a veteran presence than a starter because, again, there's not much experience in this position. Reportedly, there are mixed feelings in the locker room about Earps now. Some players think Earps' timing was selfish, Others believe she was treated unfairly. I'm guessing a lot of them feel both. Here's the thing though. According to The Athletic, Earps feels like she has done nothing wrong to lose her place and has done her job every time she's put on the England shirt. Hannah Hampton is the better keeper now. What are you talking about? She's just better. It seems like Earps couldn't handle being the number 2 option for just one summer. This could have been a classy send-off. Instead, we're left with chaos, rumors, and distractions for the England team. So a lot of things happened in England since I started editing this video. Fran Kirby has just retired from international football after Wiegman told her she wouldn't be in this year's Euro squad. I thought she could have been a good presence to have. I think she's still a good enough player. She definitely wouldn't play much because Lauren James will most likely be healthy, but you cannot tell me Jess Park would be a better backup in the attacking midfield. It's just crazy. England just lost a legend of the game and hurts to see her go. Kirby has done so much women's football in England. Also, crucially, Millie Bright has just withdrawn herself from the Euros squad. She wasn't part of this call-up because she said she needed a break to hopefully be ready for the Euros, but now one of their frequent captains and one of the best center backs in the world won't be there for England. This is understandable though. Bright has seemingly played every possible minute for England and friendly for them this year. She also never really got a rotation with Chelsea since Buchanan tore her ACL. I do think this break is needed, unfortunately. I know people will read into us and be like, what is going on with England camp? I think these are all separate instances. Kirby wasn't going to be in the Euros roster and it feels like she thinks she's on the latter legs of her career. Bright is just run to the ground and needs a break, and Earps' ego couldn't handle being the number 2 option. That's it. Now for the third head of this national team break drama, Germany. And no, this is not about Lena Oberdorf being called up despite not playing a single game this year because of her ACL. There have been issues for a while between the German Federation and the players on the national team. In the past 2 years, lots of players have been retiring from international football while they still had good football left in them for Germany. Melanie Leipold, Merle Froms, Alexandra Popp, Lena Magul, all prematurely announced their retirement in the year following the 2023 World Cup. Given what the majority of these footballers have said about Germany, it is due to issues with the federation, not really a personal decision. In a documentary, Popp and Magul infamously criticized the conditions in the build-up and during the World Cup supplied by the team and the federation, saying that they were completely unprepared. This was after Germany crashed out in the group stage. It was clear the players had issues with the appointment of then-coach Martina von Tecklenburg, and reportedly, training camp seemed more like proving yourself than figuring out team dynamics, which obviously caused tension. A lot of reports about poor communication and respect by the federation towards players were coming out, and then this was pretty much confirmed with players slowly removing themselves from the national team in the coming months. Things blew up again at the Olympics with star goalkeeper Merle Froms. For the tournament, Germany opted to go with Anne-Katrin Berger as the number 1 keeper for the tournament, benching Froms. That wasn't the issue though. While Katrin Berger was definitely in better form at the time, Merle Froms was only 29 at the time of her retirement last year. She would be starting the second Berger retired or dropped in form, but she made the decision to leave the situation permanently. Froms retired immediately following the Olympics. German media seemed to have an explanation for Froms' sudden retirement. Apparently, Germany did not tell her she was going to be benched until they were in Paris. Poor communication on Germany's end. It was about treatment giving her history with the national team, not that they benched her. So that leads us to today, where again, Germany let down another veteran of the team. Feli Rauch is 29 and has 50 caps for the national team. Now she has gone through a rough patch in form and is now playing in the NWSL instead of Germany, so her being called up for the final camp is not shocking despite her playing quite a bit for them recently, but Rauch has been a regular for Germany for the past few years. She posted on Instagram expressing disappointment that the German team didn't inform her that she wasn't going to be called up, saying that she wishes for more transparent communication. Again, this goes back to what all the other Germans who retired primarily cited as their reason. Now, Rauch actually didn't retire from the national team, but this is a pretty big criticism from a pretty relevant player. Turning our attention to club news now, I have noticed that I do cover Barcelona a lot on this channel, and unfortunately that will not change this video because there are rumors floating about. First, as expected, there have been developments in the Ingrid Engen transfer saga. She was asked about it and reportedly it is now in stone she will be leaving the club this summer. What is interesting though is that it seems Barca did want her back, but Engen wants to leave and I don't blame her. She saved Barcelona's season last year when literally every single center back was hurt and she was awarded by barely getting playing time this season. The real news though came out of left field. Barcelona are reportedly listening to offers for Fridolina Rolfo and Mappy Lyon. Rolfo isn't the craziest thing, it definitely seems like Barca are ready to have Esme Brooks take over at left back, but Lyon is funny to me because based on what Barca are saying, it seems like she might leave the club to follow Engen. Essentially, they're saying if a player wants to leave Barca, they won't stand in her way, and given that they are shopping her, yeah, maybe Emma Hayes was right. Oh, there's more though. It seems that both backup keepers are on their way out. You heard me, both. They just signed Ellie Roebuck last summer. She didn't get many games though, and now there are reports she could either leave the club full stop or go on loan. Gemma Font is also reportedly having contract issues with the club. Now, this is a lot of fire, but there's even more smoke. There are rumors, and I stress rumors, that Barca are hearing offers for Ona Batya, which again, she only joined the club 2 years ago. Player turnover has been a rising problem at Barcelona over the past 2 years, and now it appears this summer could be a complete fire sale. And I'm sorry, I hate when teams do this. They lose in the final and they just crash out and rip the team to shreds, which, you know, most likely not the answer. It just feels rash, like they lost in the final and don't know how to act. Now, Barca do have a great youth system, and I doubt they would open transfer discussions with these players if they didn't have a contingency plan. But it's not looking good. Oh my god, Lyon just signed Jonathan GIRÁLDEZ. So yeah, Barca might be having the worst international break for a club. Oh my god, Lyon are trying to sign Corbin Albert. Michelle Kang, if you sign the literal homophobe for your women's football club during Pride Month, I fear you might be the literal Antichrist. The only thing that may be less competent than Lyon right now is the Norwegian women's national team. It takes them 83 minutes to score against a country of 300,000 people, and it was because of an own goal. Caroline Graham Hansen somehow played worse than she did against Arsenal in the Champions League final, and the literal winner of the Champions League, Victor Manum, ghosted the entire game. Hegerberg didn't even get the ball ever in the box. The whole team was crossing without looking. It's a fucking mess. Every year, people look at Norway's roster and like, wow, surely they'll go far because they have some of the best players in the world. And as a Norwegian, I'm warning you, do not fall for it. I have never seen a group with weaker mentality than this lot right here. Can the coaching be better? Of fucking course. But they have been through 3 managers in 3 years, and at some point, you expect more from the players. Oh my god, she's withdrawing again? The ghost of Norway, I swear to god.
I do think we gotta maximize everything that we have as a Norway team. I mean, we're a small country, we can't lie.
Yeah, it's hard that because we get compared to what happened 20 years ago when Norway won Olympics in 2000. It's like we still hear about it, but it's 24 years ago. Yes, we have great players in big clubs all over Europe, but at the same time, we're also Norway. We're a small country.
We are a small country. No. You're getting outplayed by a country of 300,000 people. You have a Ballon d'Or! Side note, what is going on with the Netherlands? Maybe Germany is just astronomically back, which I think is maybe the case. But the Dutch are in a Euros group this summer with both England and France, so they need to get their act together quickly. Sorry, this video got a little off track. My next video will hopefully be a preview of the Women's Euros this summer, so stay tuned for that. I am starting a new job in less than a week, so I don't know when it will be uploaded, but thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any feedback, please let me know in the comments. Also, let me know what you think of the international news.